Hello everyone, welcome to my channel B&B CBS Gossip 24. Rich fires Deke after learning that he had stolen a design from someone else, Bold and the Beautiful. Rich's confrontation. Rich called Deke into his office. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the glass walls. Deke entered, obviously nervous. "Sit down, Deke," Rich said, voice calm but firm. "I've been reviewing the line progress. And there's a concern I need you to answer." Deke shifted, sweat forming at his brow. "What is it, Mr. Forrester?" Rich leaned forward. "One of the designs you submitted, the asymmetrical gown with the bold print, it's nearly identical to a freelance designer's earlier sketch. Independent. Not Forrester. Did you copy that design?" Deke's face collapsed. He looked away. "Yes. I found the sketch. I thought I could adapt it to the Forrester aesthetic. I changed the color, changed the print slightly." Rich's eyes narrowed. "That's not adaptation. That's borrowing. And in some cases that's theft. You represent Forrester Creations. You represent the name of this company. We built this on originality. On design innovation. On integrity. That integrity has to be protected." Deke tried to apologize but Rich held up a hand. "Don't. Not yet. Because I need you to understand the severity. If you forward something that is essentially someone else's design, you expose us, the company, the brand, your colleagues, to legal liability, to moral collapse. Do you understand?" Deke nodded, words failing him. Rich stood up, walked toward the large panoramic window overlooking the showroom. He turned back. "I'm going to give you one chance to fix this. You will retract that design. You will produce an original concept, truly your own, within 1 week. You'll work under watch. And you'll report to Hope directly. If you fail to do so, you're done here." Deke exhaled, relief and dread mixing in his chest. "Thank you. I will deliver." Rich nodded. "Good. Until then, you're removed from the current capsule initiative. You'll assist the technical team. No design submissions." Deke's face fell. He stood. Understood. As he left, Rich watched him go. He shook his head faintly. The problem wasn't just Deke, it was the culture that allowed ambition to override ethics. Rich knew he had to act swiftly. Meanwhile, Hope Logan shared what she'd learned with her father in hushed tones. Rich appreciated her integrity, she was the future of the brand, and she was holding to the values of Forrester Creations. "Dad, I don't think Deke intended to harm anyone. But the fact remains, he used someone else's sketch. If we don't act, the brand will be compromised." Rich nodded. "Agreed. We will handle this internally. But I want you to oversee his work until this is resolved." Hope hesitated. "I'm worried about what will happen if I push too hard. He's a young designer. He has talent. Maybe we could salvage this, help him? But the brand comes first." Rich laid a hand on her shoulder. "Yes. But our brand doesn't just come first, our reputation comes first. If that fails, nothing else does." As they left the office, elsewhere in the building Deke was holed up in a small room with a drafting table, crumpled sketches, and a sense of panic. He knew he had to deliver, but could he create something truly original in time? The pressure weighed heavy. Deke stayed late, sketching and erasing. He rifled through magazines, design blogs, fabric samples. But every time he produced something he liked, he caught himself thinking, where did I see this? The line between inspired and copied blurred. Late in the evening, he cornered Hope in the studio hallway. "Hope. I need to talk. I messed up. I'll admit it, I used that sketch. I didn't mean to destroy the brand. I wanted to make my mark." Hope looked at him, tired but resolute. "I know. You told me. But real talent means being brave enough to create something new. It means risk. It means owning your voice. Not hiding behind someone else's." Deke's voice cracked. "I don't know if I can. I don't know what my voice is yet. And now I'm terrified." Hope placed a hand on his arm gently. "We'll get you there. But you have to do the work. And you have to own it. Right now, you've got a week. Rich gave you this chance. Don't waste it." As Hope walked away, Deke felt the isolation of ambition. He also realized he might have to come clean more broadly, to the studio, to the freelance designer, to the company. The ticking clock loomed. 3 days later, Deke presented new sketches to Hope and the Forrester technical team. They were better, more daring, more personal, but still unfinished. The print motifs echoed high fashion trends. The silhouettes floated with boundary but stayed within Forrester's brand identity. Hope saw promise. Rich reviewed them later that evening. Rich studied the sketches, asked questions. Where did these motifs come from? The print reminds me of something I saw last season abroad. Deke explained that he'd traveled to Europe and visited galleries, that the print was inspired by architectural facades. Rich leaned back. Architectural facades, okay. But you better have images of what you're referencing. Because we're transparent. And if someone challenges us, we need proof. Deke nodded. He realized how exposed he was. Then a phone call arrived at the studio. The freelance designer whose sketch Deke had used had posted a social media complaint about a major brand copying his work. Rich got wind of it. Suddenly the risk magnified. If the designer named Forrester Creations or referenced a design that had reached stores, the legal and reputational consequences could be enormous. Rich gathered the senior team, design, legal, brand marketing. He said, "We have a situation. The sketch used by one of our junior designers closely resembles a designer's earlier published work. We must assume exposure. Deke has been given a chance to rectify, but I'm not convinced yet. We're not just talking about a mistake, we're talking about a brand heritage. We're talking about Forrester integrity." The room was silent. Then Rich continued, "I've made a decision. Effective immediately, Deke's design privileges are suspended. He'll be assigned to production oversight until further review. If this becomes a claim, we may sever ties. Our next step is to audit every sketch, every submission, for the last several months. I want full transparency. Understood?" Yeses all around. Rich dismissed the meeting. He sat in his office, staring at the city skyline and thought, this should have been prevented. It's on me to maintain the standards. I cannot let ambition override ethics. When Deke returned to his desk, he found a formal notice waiting, design privileges suspended pending investigation. His face went white. He picked up the phone to call Hope, but then paused. He realized this might be the moment everything changed, or ended. Deke sat at a cafe that evening across from the Forrester campus. He stared at his phone. Will he call the freelance designer? Should he apologize? Should Forrester Creations step in and make an offer to buy rights or at least acknowledge? He didn't know. Hope walked in and sat down. "Hey," she said softly. "How are you holding up?" Deke looked up. "Not good. I'm scared. Rich could fire me. This could ruin me." Hope placed a napkin on the table. "Listen, I think one step you must take is to reach out to the person you used. You owe them acknowledgement. Maybe compensation. Maybe a conversation. It's the right thing. If you don't, this will keep eating you alive." Deke exhaled. "I'm worried. What if I do it and Forrester Creations says no? What if I'm left in the lurch?" Hope met his gaze. Better to do the right thing and risk everything than to compromise your integrity and live with guilt. Right now you have 2 jobs, save your career, and save your conscience. Deke nodded. The next morning, he drafted an email to the freelance designer. He apologized, offered to meet, offered partial rights payment. He sent it, then waited. The response came, polite but firm. The designer accepted the meeting, with a lawyer present. Deke sighed. Now this was real. Back at Forrester Creations, Rich convened a meeting with his executives, legal counsel, and the design department. "We've looked into the matter. If a claim is made, the exposure is real, reputational and legal. The reputation of Forrester is built on originality, fairness, and ethical leadership in design. If we don't act decisively, we threaten everything our name stands for. Therefore," Rich said, voice steady, "I have made the decision. We are terminating Deke Sharp's design role with Forrester Creations, effective immediately. He will be issued his final paycheck and any non-compete obligations. We will publicly state that Forrester Creations does not tolerate design plagiarism or unauthorized use of third-party work. We will review our submission and review processes to ensure this never happens again. To all our designers, this is a wake-up call. Creativity is priceless. But so is integrity. Uphold both. The room sat mute. Hope looked at Ridge, stomach tight. Deke had been a risk, but he was still family adjacent via Hope. Ridge nodded at Hope reassuringly. We have to protect the brand, Hope. I know this isn't easy. She swallowed. Understood. Later that day, Ridge met Deke in his office. Deke's face was drawn. He tried to speak but Ridge spoke first. Deke, I'm sorry it ends this way. But the facts are clear. The risk is too high. Your talent showed promise, your ambition admirable. But when you crossed the line into using someone else's work, you compromised your position, our trust, and the Forrester legacy. I cannot let that slide. Deke's voice cracked. I understand. I accept it. I will apologize publicly if I must. Ridge nodded. I expect you to. Until then, you are not to represent Forrester in any capacity. HR will walk you through exit procedures. I wish you the best, I truly do. But this house of design demands integrity above all. Deke stood, nodded, turned and walked out. Ridge watched him go. He exhaled, rubbed his temples. The business of fashion, and family, was brutal. News rippled through the Forrester studio, through the fashion community, and eventually leaked to industry blogs. A junior designer associated with Forrester Creations had been terminated over a design theft controversy. Some blogs were unkind. Some sympathetic. Within Forrester, trust was shaken. The senior designers were reminded that the brand's heritage had to be guarded. Hope sat with the design team the next morning. We're moving forward, she said. We will audit all submissions, strengthen mentoring, establish a design ethics protocol. Deke's departure is painful but necessary. We must learn from this. One of the senior designers raised a hand. Will people still respect Forrester if we fire talent so quickly? Hope met his gaze. They will if they know we stand for integrity. There are many houses that chase trend and disregard authorship. We won't. That's what sets us apart. Meanwhile, Deke left Los Angeles for a few days, recalibrating his career, making contact with the freelance designer, offering compensation, and beginning to rebuild. He realized the mistake he made wasn't just a professional lapse, it was a moral one. He vowed to create new work, no shortcuts, no borrowing. And maybe one day he could return to the industry with his own voice. Ridge, for his part, reached out to the legal team and marketing. He ordered external audits of design submissions, training sessions on intellectual property for the team, and renewal of Forrester Creations' legacy campaign, Originality Within Our Family. He felt the chill of responsibility. In fashion, image is everything. He'd protected the brand this time, but a question nagged him, are we doing enough to prevent this in the future? Months passed. The new capsule collection launched under Hope's oversight. It was received well. Critics praised its fresh but true Forrester aesthetic, its integrity, and its bold design vocabulary. The scandal faded into the background, replaced by success. Deke, meanwhile, began sending feelers. He'd set up his independent studio, launched a small collection with fabric and prints wholly his own. It wasn't Forrester level, yet, but it was honest work. He even collaborated with the freelance designer he'd used, paying for the rights, crediting the original sketch as inspired by the independent artist, and building a mentorship relationship. In doing so, he earned respect for acknowledging his misstep and turning it into growth. On a sunny afternoon, Ridge visited Hope's office. The display window outside showed a model wearing one of the new gowns. Ridge said quietly, "You did good, Hope. The collection looks strong, clean. I'm proud of you and the team." Hope smiled. "Thanks, Dad. It was a team effort. We learned. We moved on. We honored the brand, and learned what matters." Ridge nodded. "And we'll keep learning. The industry changes, but the values mustn't. Integrity, innovation, respect, that's the Forrester promise." They stood side by side looking out onto the city. The Forrester legacy wasn't just about silhouettes and fashion shows, it was about ethics, family, and the courage to act when things got messy. In the world of fashion, especially the glamorous, high-stakes realm inhabited by Forrester Creations, ambition and creativity often collide with ethics and legacy. Deke's misstep was serious. The use of another's design threatened more than one young career. But the real story is what happened afterward, how a brand held firm to its standards, how a young designer was forced to face the consequences, and how the next generation, Hope, insisted on both boldness and integrity. Rich's decision to fire Deke was painful, but it was also the correct one, for the brand, for the family, and for the message. When you build with someone else's blueprint, you lose your own identity. And for Deke, he might have lost a job, but he gained a lesson. The road ahead for him will be harder, but perhaps, ultimately more authentic. The lights dim at Forrester's runway, the applause fades, but the legacy endures. And in that light, the future remains bold, beautiful, and honest. Attached were side-by-side images, Lila's original sketch and the Forrester design Deke had submitted. They were nearly identical. The comments exploded with outrage and speculation. Lila Vance, a self-made designer known for her eco-fashion ethos, had quietly been building a reputation in the Los Angeles indie circuit. When she saw her sketch appear on a Forrester runway preview, her first reaction wasn't anger, it was disbelief. Then, heartbreak. "I spent 6 months developing that silhouette," she told a local reporter. "To see it walk under another name, under Forrester's name, it felt like someone stole a part of me." By the time Forrester's legal team reached out, the damage had already begun to ripple across social media. Hashtags trended, #credit the creator, #Forrester fallout. Ridge, reading the headlines, slammed his fist onto his desk. "This is exactly what I warned about. Integrity can't just be a slogan, it has to be practiced." Hope entered quietly. "Dad, Lila's statement is going viral. We have to respond." Ridge nodded grimly. "We'll respond, but not with spin. With the truth." Part 2, Lila's Choice. Lila received a call from Hope Logan herself. She didn't expect compassion from the face of a fashion dynasty, but Hope surprised her. "Lila, I want to apologize personally. What happened is unacceptable. I can't undo the mistake, but I want to make it right, properly." There was silence on the other end, then Lila said, "You weren't the one who stole it. Why are you apologizing?" Hope exhaled. "Because I'm the one responsible for the line it appeared under. I didn't catch it soon enough." Lila's voice softened. "That means a lot, Hope. I just don't want to be erased." "You won't be," Hope promised. "Would you consider coming to Forrester to discuss this, face to face?" Against her better judgment, Lila agreed. Part 3, The Meeting. A few days later, Lila stepped through the gleaming glass doors of Forrester Creations, the same halls that had once intimidated her as a young fashion intern. Hope met her at reception, offering a warm smile that helped break the tension. Inside Ridge's office, the air was thick with awkwardness. Ridge, Hope, and Carter Walton, Forrester's legal counsel, stood as Lila entered. Ridge began, "Lila, thank you for coming. First, let me say, what happened should never have occurred under my leadership. Your design was yours, and it was taken without authorization. Forrester Creations takes full responsibility." Lila studied him carefully. "You're saying that, officially?" "Yes," Ridge said. "Officially." Carter added, "We'd like to offer a formal acknowledgement and compensation. You'd be credited in our upcoming show program as the original inspiration for that piece, and we'd like to discuss a collaboration for future collections." Lila blinked. "You want to hire me?" Hope smiled gently. "We want to work with you. You have talent, originality, and a voice we respect. We can't undo what Deke did, but we can help ensure your voice is heard." Tears glistened in Lila's eyes. "I never thought I'd get fairness from a house like this." Ridge extended his hand. "Then maybe it's time to change what people expect." They shook hands. And just like that, the scandal began to evolve into a story of accountability, an unexpected partnership. Part 4, Hope's Private Crossroads. While the company handled the fallout, Hope wrestled with her own turmoil. Her personal life had been teetering between duty and desire. A rekindled spark with Liam Spencer was once again being tested by his constant waffling between her and Steffi. In the wake of the scandal, Liam tried to comfort her. "You did the right thing," he told her one night as they sat on the Forrester terrace. "You stepped up. Ridge respects you for it." Hope sighed. "I wish that were enough, Liam. But every time something like this happens, every time integrity is tested, it feels like I lose a little more of myself." Maybe I care too much. Liam took her hand. Caring isn't the problem. It's what makes you you. Hope looked at him, uncertain. Then why does it feel like you only say that when things fall apart? He didn't answer. The silence between them said everything. Hope realized that just like Forrester, her own life needed a foundation built on honesty, not half-truths or recycled promises. Later that night, Hope returned to the design room alone. She traced her fingers along one of Deke's abandoned sketches and whispered, "We all have to find our own voice, don't we?" Part 5. The Rival Returns. While Forrester Creations worked to contain the scandal, their biggest rival, Massimo Couture, led by the sharp and ruthless designer Dante Massimo, saw an opportunity. Dante had always envied Rich's empire and his family name. When the plagiarism story broke, Dante couldn't resist adding fuel. He gave a statement to Fashion Now magazine. "In this industry, originality is sacred. Some houses preach ethics but forget them when it's convenient." The jab was thinly veiled but unmistakable. When Rich read the interview, his jaw tightened. "Massimo's using this to undermine us. Typical. He's been waiting for any crack in the armor." Steffi Forrester, Rich's daughter, stepped in. "So what are we going to do, fire back or rise above?" Rich looked thoughtful. "Neither. We're going to outcreate him." He turned to Hope. "Your next show will define whether Forrester rises or falls. I want it to scream authenticity, raw, fearless, unapologetically us. And I want Lila Vance part of it." Hope smiled. "Then let's make history." Weeks later, Hope and Lila began working side by side. Their collaboration was electric. Lila's designs leaned toward sustainability and organic form. Hope's sensibility brought polish and romance. Together they produced a collection unlike anything Forrester had done before. But not everyone approved. Steffi, overseeing Forrester Intimates, felt that the new partnership was overshadowing her division. "Dad's giving Hope too much power," Steffi complained to Finn one evening. "First she gets her own line, now she's bringing in outsiders. What's next? She runs the whole company." Finn smiled. "Competition's healthy, Steffi." "Not when it's family," she muttered. Meanwhile, Rich monitored quietly, knowing sibling rivalry was inevitable. What mattered was that Forrester Creations came out of the storm stronger. Part 7. The Fall of Deke Sharp. Far from Los Angeles, Deke was rebuilding. He'd rented a tiny studio in Silver Lake, surviving on freelance gigs. The industry hadn't forgotten his mistake, but his recent collaboration with Lila, creating prints for her sustainable line, was slowly redeeming him. He sent Hope a handwritten note. "Hope, I'll never forget that you stood up for what was right, even when it cost me everything. I'm trying to make it right now. Thank you for teaching me that originality isn't just about design, it's about character. Deke." Hope read it quietly, smiled faintly, and tucked it away in her sketchbook. Sometimes, she thought, the best lessons came from failure. Part 8. The Showdown. As the new collection neared launch, Dante Massimo struck again, leaking rumors that Forrester's sustainability line was outsourced from smaller designers, implying hypocrisy. Rich had had enough. "If he wants to test us, he'll get his answer on the runway."